I want to talk to you about a video that's really exploding in popularity on YouTube right now called That Jew Died for You. Warning, this is the most important part of the video. Rather than seek to dialogue and understand, this video may cause some people, atheist Jaclyn, to hate and accuse, defame, humiliate, slander, curse at, make fun of, and seek to destroy the public reputations of certain individuals. Viewer discretion is advised. So a video was posted on YouTube called That Jew Died for You. Some people are saying about it,
probably the worst piece of Christian propaganda I have ever seen.
If you don't know who Jaclyn is, she's contributed such videos as 7 Deadly Sex Tips, Q&A, Spit or Swallow, I Hate All Christians, Disproving Christianity, Why I Hate Religion, Religion Society's Cancer, and Abortions Are Fun. Jaclyn says,
it's probably the worst piece of Christian propaganda I have ever seen.
2 weeks ago, a video was posted called That Jew Died for You that received over 1 million hits. This video had more likes than dislikes until Jaclyn made her response video by the same title.
But I want you guys to tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'm also going to link to the original video if you want to see it, if you want to go to it, if you want to leave them your thoughts. That would be great because I think right now it has more likes than dislikes.
No, not anymore.
Congratulations, Jaclyn. You did it. You must be so proud of yourself. Look at the comments people are leaving just because of you. They say, wow, this is disgusting. I am so offended. I don't know why, but I feel like I should be. I hate this video. I have no idea why I'm offended, but I'm offended. Just like Jaclyn. Not a single person who left these comments actually explained what is disgusting or why they are offended. They actually don't know, because Jaclyn doesn't know, but I'm going to tell you why. Jaclyn makes the following claims about That Jew Died for You. Jaclyn says, this video is offensive to Jewish people. She is offended, but she is not Jewish. Jaclyn says that Jesus was just another Jew who died because of what he did, an uprising, not because of who he claimed to be. Jaclyn says that Hitler was a Christian, and that true Christianity looks like Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I find a lot of things to be totally abhorrent with this video. I mean, a video fail. How dare you use the death of millions of people to propagate your beliefs, especially whenever those beliefs, Christianity, is what played a major role in this happening to the Jewish people to begin with. How dare you?
The only thing that could be worse than that is doing it to make money, right?
So make sure to go check out that video and let them know what you think. Let me know what you think too. And like this video, share it everywhere. I hope you liked it. Also, if you like my awesome Darwin shirt, make sure to check it out at jaclynglenn.com. I'll have a link to that in the description. I've been selling these shirts for a long time. I see a lot of people getting them. It's really cool. If you do get one, tweet me a picture or send it to me on Facebook or something so I can share it because I think it's really awesome to see you guys wearing my shirts. Also, it's helping support me a lot, so whenever you buy them, it makes me super happy.
Jaclyn, I just gave you a free advertisement. You must think, oh, how nice of him to do that. I did it for a reason. You won't understand why until the end of this video. So let's keep going because we have a way to go. Jaclyn says,
probably the worst piece of Christian propaganda I have ever seen.
Okay, so the worst ever. Can you tell me, Jaclyn, what was the worst before this one? You must have a list. Tell me how long it takes you to figure that out. While you're figuring that out, I want to listen to your review of That Jew Died for You and listen to how you have difficulty explaining why you're so offended.
Hey guys, so I just watched a really strange video on YouTube titled This Jew Died for You. That's right, just for you. It's probably the worst piece of Christian propaganda I have ever seen anywhere on the internet. It's really disrespectful and horrible and all of those things. I'm going to go through and talk about why. So I'm just going to play the clip so you can see what I'm talking about. And if you were ever wondering where God was during the Holocaust, well, this will answer your questions, kind of. So for copyright reasons, I can't use the original music that was playing with this, but pretty much it shows the Jewish people, one falls over, someone helps him up, looks like it must be Jesus. Then it shows all of them arriving at the concentration camp, and of course, someone special walks up. Who could it be? It's Jesus! What are they gonna do? Well, the mean people are gonna kill Jesus. That's shocking. Just another Jew. Brilliant piece of Christian propaganda right here.
I don't think you understand why you're offended, and I don't think you understand this video at all. As far as I can tell, the only reason you're offended is because you hate the fact that Jesus is in it. You just don't like Jesus.
Someone helps him up. Looks like it must be Jesus.
Are you offended because he helped her up? No, that can't be it. Are you offended because it's Jesus?
And of course, someone special walks up. Who could it be? It's Jesus!
What she really is saying is, boo! Boo! Get him off the screen!
What are they gonna do? Well, the mean people are gonna kill Jesus. That's shocking. Just another Jew. Brilliant piece of Christian propaganda right here.
But isn't it possible that the reason the Nazis rejected the Jews and hated them simply for being Jews, isn't that possibly similar why people reject and hate Jesus? Just because of who he was, not for anything that he actually did? And isn't it possible that the Nazis were not actually Christians, and that they would have actually executed Jesus unwittingly? That's the whole question of the video. It's trying to say, hey, look, maybe the Nazis weren't following Jesus Christ. And I don't think that's a disgusting question to ask. In fact, it's very important. Because while Jaclyn, who made this response to this video, seems to really hate Christianity, she really also seems to hate Jesus Christ. But for no reason at all. Not because of anything Jesus did, only because of who he claimed to be. He claimed to be the Son of God. Jaclyn claims to be an atheist. And you can't fit the Son of God into an atheistic worldview. It's not possible. So he has to be rejected. Simply because of who he claimed to be. You can't handle that. There is no room in your worldview, Jaclyn, for the Son of God. He must be rejected. And you would stand among those who accused and crucified him, saying, hey, Jesus, you disgust and offend me. You're disgusted and offended with Jesus for the same reason that the Nazis are offended at the Jews. A Nazi would look at a Jew and say, oh, they're so disgusting, they offend me, even the sight of them. You are no different. And that's why Jesus is the Jewish Messiah. He identifies with his hated, rejected, and misunderstood people. And he would have died among them as one of them because that's exactly what he did. This video that you hate so much, that you say was offensive to Jews, was made by Jews who love Jesus, who recognize that he is the Messiah of the Jews. I'm a Jewish person. I love this video. I believe in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah. I believe that. And because I believe that, because I understand what this video is trying to say, this video is beautiful. It's not disgusting. Saying that a Jewish person's suffering is like the suffering of another Jewish person, the suffering of God himself. I mean, imagine telling your Jewish friend, look, the suffering of the Jewish people is like the death of God himself. And that the Jewish people were rejected only for being the people of God, chosen by God, in accordance with what the Bible says. It has nothing to do with what they claimed themselves. It has to do with what God said about them. That's why Hitler hated the Jews. Hitler also hated the God of the Jews. You say, oh, but he was a Christian. No, he wasn't. And I'll explain why.
Jesus! What are they gonna do? Well, the mean people are gonna kill Jesus. That's shocking. Just another Jew. Brilliant piece of Christian propaganda right here. Yeah, so there it was. An extremely disrespectful video towards Jewish people and an appropriation of what they actually went through during the Holocaust.
Jaclyn, correct me if I'm wrong, but you say that religion and faith is the cancer of society. There was another person named Adolf Hitler who liked to refer to a people group as a cancer. The Jews, obviously. So, in your opinion, wouldn't killing Jews who believe in Torah, the Jewish Bible, wouldn't killing them be the same as cutting away cancer from society? Wouldn't that be a good thing, in your view? These are your words, not mine.
Just another Jew. Brilliant piece of Christian propaganda right here. Yeah, so there it was. An extremely disrespectful video towards Jewish people and an appropriation of what they actually went through during the Holocaust.
Jaclyn wants to convince us that she's really offended on behalf of the suffering of the Jews and the way the Holocaust was portrayed in this video, but she never mentions being offended for the other suffering Jew in the video, Jesus. No, she's offended at him, not for him. And that betrays what's really going on here. It reveals that she doesn't actually care about the Jewish people, and she's not actually offended for them. She's offended for herself. She's offended at Jesus Christ, just like the Nazis were offended at the Jews.
Whenever I watched this, the most disgust I felt was because of the first thought I had, which was that the Nazi regime had so many connections to Christianity. Using something like this to promote the very religion that helped cause it in the first place is beyond disgusting.
You know, when the first thought you have, which is your major point as to why you hate this video, is wrong, that's really bad. Really bad. You see, Hitler was a Catholic. He was not a Christian. Have you never heard of the Protestant Reformation, one of the largest events in Christian history, which a major schism took place where a ton of Christians said, hey, the Roman Catholic Church is not Christian. We've been saying it for hundreds of years. Hitler was a Catholic. He wasn't a Christian. What's the difference? The Bible tells us, John chapter 3, verse 3, you have to be born again of the Spirit of God. Book of Romans says, unless the Spirit of God lives in you, you do not belong to God. Catholics don't understand what it means to be born again of the Spirit. I refer you to Gospel of John chapter 1, verse 12, to be born of God. Roman Catholics have no idea what this means. Roman Catholics, you'll never hear of a born-again Roman Catholic. It doesn't exist. Roman Catholics are not Christians. Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't matter if Hitler claimed to be a Christian. Doesn't matter if he said the Nazi movement was a Christian movement. Doesn't matter if he shook hands with the Pope. The Pope isn't a Christian either. So your major point, the thing that caused you the most disgust, is wrong, according to the Bible. That's the easiest thing to prove wrong, is your most fundamental point is wrong. And then you told all of your YouTube subscribers to go and dislike this video and claim it's disgusting, and they did because they believe what you say, and because you don't even understand what you're saying, how can they come to some higher understanding by listening to you? And so they go over like sheep and they blaspheme God. Here's a comment that I felt was indicative of the problem. This person says, "This is absolutely disgusting. Just as Jaclyn Glenn said, how dare you use mass genocide by a Christian people to support Christianity?" What this comment misunderstands is what Jaclyn misunderstands. God is the one who chose to draw that parallel 1900 years before the Holocaust happened by sending Jesus Christ, well before the Holocaust happened, to suffer and die, to be misunderstood, to be the archetype of the hated, rejected Jew. And so what happened with Jesus was just repeated on a much larger scale to the entire nation of Israel. And that's why the Jewish Messiah best identifies with his own people. That's why he is the Jewish Messiah, because he is distinctly Jewish, and he experiences what his people experience. And the most unifying and the most terrifying experience the Jewish people ever experienced, the Holocaust, well, the Messiah of Israel is not exempt from it either. That parallel is legitimate. Both are Jews, both suffered, both died. That parallel, at least on the surface, is fair. There's nothing wrong or offensive about that. That's just a statement of facts. So I'm sure those facts don't offend you. And he entered into that suffering and that death, and he died on a cross, a sinner's cross, and people to this day reject him and hate him for the same reason that the Nazis hated and rejected the Jews, for being Jews. That's the only reason the Jews were hated. And that's the only reason Jesus is hated, because he's Jesus. Let me show you a few other parallels between Jesus and the Holocaust that makes this video extremely profound and important. And the person who's going to show me that parallel will be Jaclyn herself. Jaclyn, go ahead.
The Jewish people didn't do anything to deserve what happened to them. I'm not saying that even if the Jesus character were real, that he would have deserved a crucifixion, but what he did was an uprising against the government. Anyone would have been killed for that. It's considered treason. It had nothing to do with who he was or who his followers thought he was.
Jaclyn, you rightly pointed out that the Jewish people were innocent victims. They were hated for being Jews. The Nazis hated the Jews and were offended and disgusted with them simply because they were Jewish. Now, the same thing happened with Jesus. Jesus simply claimed to be who he was, and people rejected him for that. And it had nothing to do with an uprising. I don't know where you get that from. The disciples were all cowards who scattered as soon as Jesus was arrested. The only uprising there was a crowd who wanted to crucify Jesus, so you could not say Jesus was guilty of that uprising, seeing as he certainly didn't lead it. No one leads an uprising to crucify themselves. And then the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, deemed him innocent and said, I find him guilty of nothing. So, which government was he guilty by? Do you mean the Jewish government? Well, Jesus claimed to be the king of the Jews. Jesus was the one who kept all the Jewish laws. Jesus was the one who, well, frankly, created the world, if you understand who he is. But you say he's just another Jew, just like the Nazis in the video. You see, you reject Jesus because of his claims, not because of an uprising. That's just some nonsense that you made up to reject him, just as the Nazis made up nonsense to reject the Jews. You see, the same reason that the Nazis reject the Jews and find them disgusting and are offended at the Jews is the same reason you're disgusted and offended with this video and disgusted and offended with Jesus Christ, because he claimed to be the Son of God and you claim to be an atheist. And how do you fit the Son of God into an atheist worldview? You can't. So you have to just say he's another Jew and crucify him and stand in the crowd with those who mocked and crucified him, saying, you claim to be the Son of God, you're not. You're a liar and a criminal and a blasphemer, and you deserve to die for your lies. That is you. That is why God relates to the Jewish people in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Because just as the Jews at the hands of the Nazis were completely mistreated and unjustly abused, so too, in the crucifixion of Jesus, who is the quintessential ultimate Jew, the one who 1900 years before the Holocaust suffered his own Holocaust at the hands of evil, bigoted, closed-minded people who hated him only because of his claims of who he claimed to be. Keep in mind, the Romans had no interest in Jesus at all. It was exactly because of who he claimed to be, and only because of who he claimed to be. You could accuse him of no sin. He never sinned. There is nothing wrong with Jesus. Any fault you find with Jesus is a fault of your own. Just as any Nazi who found fault to kill a Jew, any Nazi who looked at a Jew and said, you offend me, or you disgust me, and therefore I have to kill you, that is the same. That is the exact same thing that happens when a person like yourself rejects Jesus Christ and says, you disgust and offend me, Jesus. That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you have done and caused thousands of people to do. You have crucified Jesus again in this video that brings glory to him and reveals him to people, especially to his Jewish people for whom he died, for whom Hitler and the Nazis, by their abuse, askewed and distorted the message of Jesus. And that is their greatest crime. And you perpetrate and perpetuate that crime every time you convince people and encourage people to reject Jesus Christ, and that's exactly what you've done by causing people to hate this video and thumb it down. Now, any Jew who looks at this video and sees all those thumbs down and reads the comments is also going to be offended, not because it's offensive, not because what I'm telling you is not true, but because you are deceived and have deceived people. You hate Jesus Christ without reason. You are exactly and no different than a Nazi. The Nazi is just a symbol, a picture that God set up, so that you may understand your rejection of Jesus is exactly the same.
And speaking of dying for a cause, and a lot of people are going to hate that I say this, but Jesus, as the Son of God, who technically was God, God incarnate, knew what was going to happen. He knew that he was going to die and then rise from the dead again 3 days later. So, I'm sorry, but he didn't actually die. That's really not that big of a sacrifice, knowing that you're going to just be in a coma for a few days and then wake up.
It's at this point in the video that Jaclyn betrays the fact that her hatred for that Jew died for you is not based on her love for the Jewish people, nor does it have anything to do with her understanding of the video at all. It's purely based on her theological objection and misunderstanding and confusion over who Jesus is and what his work was on the cross. She's offended by it. So, Jaclyn, let me help you out here. You answered it yourself. Jesus is God. God is eternal. God doesn't experience time like you and me. And so the crucifixion of Christ, the death of Christ, is eternal to God in a way that you and I can't understand. But what we can do is not spit all over it and reject it simply because we don't fully understand it. Kind of like the Nazis and their closed-minded bigotry, all I see from you when I look at your videos as a whole your whole attitude, the fact that you're wearing a Darwin shirt like you're some cheerleader for Darwinism, and, you know, what? You say it's just a scientific theory and nothing more? No, clearly it's your ticket to rejecting God. It's your ticket to a worldview without God, which you celebrate. You know, the Bible says those who hate God love death. I find it funny that you've got, you know, a fossil right on your dark shirt. Hey, Jaclyn, if you want to have a conversation with me, seriously, I'd like to have a live conversation, we can record it. I'd like to question you about why you are offended and disgusted with this video. I really just want to talk it out. And I'm pretty sure I can convince you that you are way off base on this one, and that you are just so blinded by your atheism that you will believe anything, like Hitler was a Catholic Christian, which is ridiculous. Catholics aren't Christians. And that somehow this video is offensive to Jewish people, when really it's the ultimate message to Jewish people, that their suffering in the Holocaust is like the death of God himself. That's a beautiful statement. That's not a disgusting statement, that's a beautiful statement. It infuses their suffering with nobility and profundity, but of course that's all lost on you. If you want to have that conversation, I'm open to it at any time. I look forward to hearing your response, and I really would like to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I find a lot of things to be totally abhorrent with this video. I mean, a video fail. How dare you use the death of millions of people to propagate your beliefs? Especially whenever those beliefs is what played a major role in this happening to the Jewish people to begin with. How dare you? Yeah, I find a lot of things to be totally abhorrent with this video. I mean, a video fail. How dare you use the death of millions of people to propagate your beliefs?